You're at the pump, watching the numbers climb. You've heard it for years. America is pumping 13 million barrels of oil per day, more than any country in history. We're energy independent. So why does filling your tank still feel like a financial wound? This contradiction isn't just about your wallet. It's a symptom of a deeper, hidden architecture. We live in an age of unprecedented energy abundance, yet we are perpetually one storm, one pipeline hack, one geopolitical tweet away from scarcity panic. This is the Energy Historian, uncovering the hidden systems that power civilization. And today we're pulling back the curtain on the greatest illusion in the modern world, the scarcity of abundance. Think of the global energy system not as a simple tap, but as a vast, pressurized network of fountains. At the source, the water is gushing. The United States, Saudi Arabia, Russia, they are all opening the valves wider than ever. In 2023, global oil production surpassed 100 million barrels every single day. Solar and wind capacity is being added at a staggering pace. By the raw numbers, we are swimming in energy. But you don't live at the fountainhead. You live at the end of a labyrinthine network of pipes, wires, tankers, and transformers. And that's where the illusion begins. Abundance at the source means nothing if the delivery system is fragile, contested, and governed by incentives that have nothing to do with keeping your costs low. Let's make this concrete. In May 2021, a criminal group launched a ransomware attack against a single company, Colonial Pipeline. They didn't blow up a well. They didn't sink a tanker. They simply encrypted the billing system that managed the pipeline's operations. Colonial, fearing the malware could spread to operational controls, did the prudent thing. They shut it down. For 6 days. That one pipeline carries nearly half the gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel for the entire east coast of the United States. The fountain was still gushing. The oil was in the ground, in storage tanks, waiting. But the labyrinth was clamped shut. Within 72 hours, panic buying emptied stations from Georgia to New Jersey. Prices spiked. The National Guard was put on alert. This wasn't a scarcity of energy, it was a scarcity of delivery. A scarcity of resilience. One choke point in a system with thousands of them revealed the truth. Our sense of security is as thin as a pipeline wall. Now, why would we build a system so brittle? The answer lies in a decades-old economic calculation called efficiency. After the oil shocks of the 1970s, the industry embarked on a relentless drive to cut costs and eliminate redundancy. Refineries were consolidated. In 1981, America had 324 refineries. Today, we have just 135, but they are much larger and more complex. We didn't close them because we were producing less oil. We closed them because, in a global market, it seemed cheaper to import refined gasoline from mega refineries in Asia and the Middle East, or to rely on just a few massive facilities on the Gulf Coast. This made perfect sense on a corporate balance sheet. It created a catastrophic vulnerability for the continent. When Hurricane Harvey flooded the Texas coast in 2017, it took offline nearly a quarter of U.S. refining capacity. Gasoline prices in Dallas shot up 50 cents in a week. In California, which relies on a handful of its own specialized refineries, a single facility going offline for maintenance can create a dollar per gallon premium over the national average. The system is optimized for profit, not for stability. And you feel that optimization as price volatility. This brings us to the second layer of the illusion. The market is not a thermostat for your comfort. It's a fever chart of global stress. The price you pay isn't simply the cost of extraction plus a modest markup. It's a real-time auction, absorbing shocks from everywhere. A drone strike on Saudi oil fields, a sanctions package on Russian exports, a decision by OPEC Plus to cut production by 1 million barrels a day to prop up prices. These are geopolitical actions, but their financial impact lands in your commute. Here's the catch. Even when America produces enough oil for itself, it doesn't keep that oil for itself. It sells it on the global market. That West Texas crude gets pumped, loaded onto a tanker in the Gulf, and sold to the highest bidder in Europe or Asia. Why? Because the global price is the global price, A US producer has no patriotic incentive to sell to a US refinery for less. So, we achieve energy independence in a physical sense, but remain utterly dependent on the global price set in London and Singapore. Your local scarcity is a function of global abundance being fought over by everyone. But wait, what about the green revolution? Surely solar and wind, with their free fuel, break this cycle. They reveal a new, even more profound form of scarcity. The sun shines everywhere, but the ability to capture, store, and transmit that energy is intensely material and concentrated. Think of it as moving from a scarcity of fuel to a scarcity of infrastructure. A modern wind turbine requires rare earth magnets, often controlled by China. Massive battery farms need lithium, cobalt, and nickel, mined in a handful of countries under fraught environmental and labor conditions. And then you need the grid, the ultimate labyrinth. Texas, during the freeze of 2021, discovered it had abundant natural gas and wind potential. What it lacked were winterized wellheads, insulated pipelines, and connections to neighboring grids that could have kept the lights on. The energy was theoretically there. The system to deliver it reliably through a once-in-a-generation storm was not. The scarcity was, again, in the transmission. So we have a triple bind. A physical system streamlined to the point of fragility, a market system that exports local abundance and imports global risk, and a transition system that trades one set of material dependencies for another. This is why energy always feels scarce. The system is designed to make it so, not by conspiracy, but by a cascade of rational short-term decisions that, over decades, built a machine that is brilliant at generating megawatts and barrels and terrible at delivering cheap, stable security to the end user. The incentives are misaligned. The oil companies' profit peaks when tension in the Strait of Hormuz sends prices soaring. The utilities' balance sheet is often healthier building a new gas peaker plant than funding massive grid storage. The homeowner's solar panels go idle when the local transformer can't handle the reverse flow. The real question then becomes not why is energy scarce, but scarce for whom and by design. For the system operator, scarcity is a pricing signal. For the geopolitical strategist, scarcity is a lever of power. For the infrastructure investor, scarcity in one place creates opportunity in another. You are not the primary customer of this global system. You are the endpoint, a data point in a logistics chain. Your feeling of scarcity is the friction of a gargantuan, interconnected machine that values equilibrium and profit over your personal cost certainty. We began at the gas pump, a moment of personal frustration. But that pump is a portal. It's where you touch the endpoint of a system spanning continents and decades, governed by the physics of pipelines, the geopolitics of oil, and the financial logic of just-in-time delivery. The abundance is real. The scarcity is real too. They are not opposites. They are the two gears of the same engine, turning against each other, and the grinding sound you hear is the cost of modern life. If this reframed how you see the price at the pump, hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments, where do you see this tension between abundance and scarcity playing out next?